I chose it specifically for this call. First time wearing the shirt, and I got my salty crew hat on. So I'm in Puerto Rico, so I'm by the beach too. But man, the West Coast is the best coast, no doubt about it.
I love
So
it.
yeah, man. You want me to just dive into my story, then we'll kind of roll with it?
Please, man.
Cool.
Just most people have never even seen you at Build. I mean, a lot of people don't get a chance to travel to Build or to EXP Con
Right.
or to shareholders, so they might even know
Cool.
who you even are. But man, your story is compelling, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, happy to share. So yeah, I'll just start from the top. So I joined EXP in 2017, right at the beginning. I was at Keller Williams. Wasn't looking to make a switch. My sponsor shared with me the opportunity, and he was actually my real estate coach at the time. And he's like, you know what, AJ, just take a look at this video. So I was kind of sharing with him that I was like, I think I need to, open additional locations. I was running a team of like 5 agents at the time. So nothing crazy, but relatively successful. I was in the industry for 4 years at the time. And I just felt stuck. So I was like, I need more leverage. What can I do? So Keller Williams was pushing this expansion model at the time. So I was looking into that. And I told my coach, I'm considering pursuing this expansion model, or I'll go independent. That was my plan for 2017, was to either expand using the Keller Williams model, or at the end of that year, go independent if that didn't work out. So he's like, you know what, AJ, before you do anything, just watch this video. So I watched a video just like the modelexplain.com with Brent Gove, except it was just poorly put together slides. It wasn't even Brent, his face. It was just slides and Brent, if you ever watch him, he's so fired up. So I got fired up, and I joined just a couple weeks later because I was like, what do I got to lose? So, but more than that, I was looking for freedom. So it's like, I find when you're in this for attraction, which you guys, all are at least interested, that's why you're on this call today. For me, I looked at the opportunity through the filter of, I wanted freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom. And I knew, because I had been selling real estate at a high level and making decent money, that path of just selling real estate, building a team, was not going to get me to my freedom number, my residual income goal, so that I could really have that true freedom. So joined January 1, 2017. I had a 5-year plan. I was going to sponsor 25 agents, just 5 a year for 5 years. So 25 total agents. And based on what I saw at the time, I thought, you know what, if I can get those agents to sponsor, or recruit, attract some of their colleagues, friends in the business, agents they're doing deals with, I think I can grow this organization to 500 total agents. And based on the comp plan and what I was seeing at the time, I was like, you know what, I think that would be about $25,000 a month. And my financial freedom number to live a dream lifestyle for me, which included moving to Laguna Beach, California, was $25,000 a month is what I would need to live on, or what I desired to live on at least. And so I went to work on it. Had a great year at EXP. I was an Icon agent in 2017, and we sold close to 100 homes, handful of us on the team. And by the end of that year, I was reflecting and kind of looking at it. I had hit my goal of sponsoring 5 agents. I actually sponsored 9 total. 3 were already on my team. And that grew to a total organization size of 157. My best month was I think my first year was about $3,000 in revenue share. So it wasn't anything that was yet life-changing. However, I had the faith that the company was going to continue to grow. I mean, we probably had around 4,000 agents at the end of 2017 would be my best guess. And I actually decided to stop selling real estate at the end of 2017. So I only sold real estate at EXP for 1 year, and I went all in on revenue share. And just 6 months later, so it's sort of in June 2018, I hit my 5-year goal. So I sponsored 22 agents, and they grew to a total org size of 500. And that month, I actually made $24,490. And just a couple months later, my wife and I sold our house in Charlotte, got an RV. We're going to travel for 3 months and end in Laguna Beach. So we're on our way. And then, as fate would have it, we found out about this beautiful place called Puerto Rico that has some benefits to live here tax-wise. So we moved to Puerto Rico and been here 4 years. And total org size now, just over 6,500 agents in the group, and really enjoying the freedom and lifestyle that allows.
That's crazy. So kind of a little bit more background on that for you, because obviously I think people look at you from EXP, which is amazing, by the way. I mean, your main goal, I think a lot of them, even Brent said at the very beginning that he'd be happy with 500. I think Rob Flick said he'd be somewhere around 500. It was like a magic number of, hey, let me get to 500. I think that'd be a great doable setup. But ultimately, as you've seen it, it's like compounded and compounded and compounded. And, prior to you even coming here at Keller Williams, you were a realtor, you were at team environment. What did that look like at Keller Williams production wise? Because I want everybody to understand too, like everybody says, well, it's all about recruiting. No, I mean, he comes from a background of real estate. You were the rookie of the year, right? I believe what was your prior at Keller Williams, that kind of setup? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I got into real estate end of 2012. So 2013 was really my first year in real estate. Got rookie of the year, but only sold 6 houses. So in my mind, it was an utter failure for first year production wise. But I hired a coach halfway through that first year and learned to follow a repeatable, duplicatable process that the Mike Berry organization taught me. That was prospecting expired SFSBOs. And by the end of my first year, I had over 20 listings. And my second year as an individual agent sold 36. So my first year without the right mentor, without the right coach, wasn't good until I found one. And had I not hired one, I may not be in real estate today. So I highly believe in coaching. So my start was really poor, to be honest. And I think that's a blessing a lot of times. I saw a post, I think, on Facebook yesterday. This guy that I was in this company called Student Painters. There's like a College Pro, College Works all around the country. There's different companies. But what they do is they teach you how to run a business by using exterior house painting this summer for college kids. So I was involved with that organization in college, and I had a poor start there as well. And this other guy who's highly successful today has a big company called Self Publishing School. His name's Chandler. He had this great post, and he was talking about the blessing of starting slow in something and kind of failing at the beginning, because that sets you up for success later on. And that's what he saw in his Student Painters days. And I saw the same. Student Painters, I almost didn't even open my business that summer because I had such low sales. So like the owner of the company was like, we really can't open you because we're taking a financial risk on the power wash or the ladders. So if you're sitting here today thinking like, man, I've been at EXP for 3 years, my rev share team's only 10 or 0, or maybe you're a new agent, you've been in business for a year and your sales aren't where you want it to be, that's okay. Let that be your blessing to decide today, like, hey, that's the past. I'm going to change everything because the future that I see for myself, for my family is so much bigger. I'm just going to decide today to get the right mentor, to find that blueprint that you need to follow, and then to hire a coach or maybe just get an accountability group to hold you accountable to the activities that you should already be doing. That's kind of the blueprint to it. So that's what I did with real estate. 3 years in at Keller Williams, I started to hire some buyer's agents for my team, an assistant. So my third year, sold almost 100 homes. Fourth year, almost 100 homes. And my fifth year would have been at EXP, almost 100 homes. We never cracked 100. My best year was like 87. So I didn't come to the EXP with like this influencer following, or I wasn't a national coach. I wasn't a big social media star. I was just a good producing agent in my market. I had only been in real estate for 4 years. I was 30 when I joined EXP, so I didn't have the established relationships that some might have. I had just moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2012 from Orange County, California. Grew up in Michigan, was in Orange County a couple years. So my start in real estate, like Chris alluded to at the beginning, was very humble beginnings. So I had no real advantage to start my attraction journey.
Yeah. I love the story you always share at Build about the moment you went. Was it you the one to put the training course on a credit card or did stuff, right? And,
oh yeah.
And you went to this training course. So you're heavily, like, your belief system truly is in obviously putting time into yourself, right? Building yourself, coaching. You mentioned coaching. What was that story? I'd love to share with that, because a lot of people that hear that story, you were literally like, I'm able to afford that training seminar, but yet you went. And what were a couple things you were talking about there?
Yeah, so 6 months in, I found myself looking around. Like, I had one sale. I think it might have even been a lease, and in North Carolina, a lease is worth like $200 of income. So it's like, it's not very good. And I'm like, I need to find, the not the easy button or the magic button but just I need to find help. So I heard about this real estate conference. It was a Mike Ferry conference in Las Vegas. It would have been July, probably early July, mid-July. They call them the Superstar Retreat. So that was 2013. I went there. Wasn't really making much money. My wife was working as a nurse, so we weren't completely broke, but we were pretty broke. I wasn't making any money, and I sold my mountain bike. There's a lot more to just putting it on my credit card. Like to get into real estate, like I had sold my mountain bike, and I love mountain biking. Like I didn't want to sell my mountain bike. I sold that. I had like $5,000 in a Roth IRA, cashed that out, took the penalty, didn't even care what the tax implications would be. It was only $5,000. I was like, there goes my entire retirement. It's gone. I had bought ladders on Craigslist to resell out of a storage unit because I knew I could make a spread on these extension ladders, like for house painting, because I had a house painting business in college. So I bought like 100 ladders from an AC business, heating and cooling company going out of business. So I did everything to float me in real estate, to get me to that conference, to get even licensed. It wasn't just simply putting it on a credit card. It was looking around my house, what's not bolted to the floor that can be sold. And I talk to new agents all the time. Now I have a small YouTube channel. It's not very big, but I'll get newer agents, younger agents reaching out to me. And they're like, I don't have any money to buy leads, or I don't have any money to take this training course, or, it's always, I don't have any money. And it's like, I know you got a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 sitting in your living room right now that you could probably sell for $200. And all the video games, another $200. And you probably got, this and that, and 3 big screen TVs sitting in your house. Like there's things that you can do if you really want it. So that was my story. So yes, I put the training, the conference on a credit card. Ended up realizing at the conference, like Chris alluded to, I actually had a hole in my dress shoe, and made the decision in that moment. That was my defining moment, to go all in. So hired a coach on a credit card. And because I had actual skin in the game at that point, of financial commitment to my career, more than just the licensing fees, I showed up different. I took action at a different level, and I was willing to be held accountable to those prospecting calls that I knew I should be making, but wasn't making. And everything changed from that point. And what's interesting too, it's like there's things that we know we should be doing, whatever area of your life, health, attraction, your real estate business. And at the end of the day, when you should have started the day doing a few key activities, and at the end of the day you didn't do them, like at face value, you might think, well, awesome, I didn't have to make 20 contacts to sellers who might hang up on me, so I feel better that I didn't have to face the rejection. When in reality, at the end of the day, you're kicking yourself because you didn't keep the commitment you made to yourself, and you didn't know you moved the ball forward. But at the end of the day, had you made the calls, even if you didn't set one appointment, you feel good because you actually did what you promised to yourself, and you faced the rejection. It's kind of weird. It's like going to the gym. It's like right now I was traveling for 3 weeks, including going to the building vet, and I got a little out of my workout routine and my eating routine. And I'm supposed to go to the gym after this. I'm supposed to go to the gym yesterday. I didn't go. I am going to go after this, but I don't want to go. But I know after the workout, I'm going to feel great. And if I don't go when I'm about to go to bed and I'm brushing my teeth, I'm going to be looking at myself like, man, you're saying you're on this new health journey and you didn't even go to the gym again. So it's just interesting when you do what you don't want to do, you actually feel better than had you actually not done the activity that you're trying to avoid. And it's with every area of life. It's really interesting. So the lesson in that, guys, is just decide to go all in, identify the resources, the training that you need to help you on your journey, pay for it if it costs money, attend it. This is free. You guys are all here. Congratulations for showing up to these types of calls. Then the other piece that most people miss, it's the accountability piece. And you can look at who's on this call. There's 38 people. You can be like, all right, I'm going to contact Kendra, Shireen, Ross, Ronnie, Chris. I'm going to contact all 38 people just to find 3 to 4 that will actually meet with me every Friday morning to review if I actually made the contacts I said I was going to make, or maybe role play with. Like, you could role play attraction scripts. It works for your real estate business and your attraction business. So that's like the secret sauce that people are missing, is that accountability piece. We're all missing it. I'm not immune to that. Even today, I need the accountability. I have a business coach. I have a health coach. And that's it for coaching. But I highly believe in coaching.
I love it. And I think that's, I want to piggyback on that with you saying your wins, the small wins. I think most of us overlook the small wins, like not doing the gym. You told yourself to. I believe firmly that the biggest liar in our life is ourself. Like, every day we look at ourselves in the mirror, we kind of lie to ourselves about certain things. Like, I don't want to do the calls because of the fear. I don't want to do this because of the fear. I want to do this because of the rejection. I don't want to go to the gym because I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. It doesn't. Tomorrow never comes. It never comes. It never comes, because tomorrow turns into the second piece of, well, I didn't do it yesterday, so it's okay. I justify it. Tomorrow I'll not do it again. It'll justify it. And that justification keeps going on. So thank you for sharing that, AJ. It's amazing. What are some of the tips? Let's see. What do you got, Bo? How many prospecting calls were you doing per day, week to build your organization? And do you still, what does that say? Go ahead and unmute your mic, Bill. Ask that.
Hey, AJ. I was just curious, both from a recruiting standpoint, and then back when I don't know if you're in production still, but when you were, how many calls were you making per day or week for the recruiting part and for the lead gen part? Yeah,
good question. So I've been retired from selling real estate for 5 years now. Thankful for that. But man, when I was selling real estate, I was making 100 to 150 contacts per week. So that probably would have been 1,000 phone calls or more. So that was a grind. That was 2 to 3 hours, 5 days a week, standing up, headset on, scripts on the wall, mirror, smile dial, type of strategy. And man, if you did that for attraction, you would have some massive success, no doubt about it. What's interesting with the attraction piece is because most of us, myself included at the beginning especially, we just don't treat attraction like it's a real business when it is. So we just kind of poke a stick at it and hope something happens. And that was definitely my approach that first year. So that first year when I sponsored 6, I wasn't making calls. It was, I reached out to a couple people that I was friends with through different coaching organizations. So I reached out to, probably less than a handful of people from that. Some agents asked me about it when I made the switch. They're like, man, why do you, agents from my previous office, they're like, why'd you leave Keller Williams to go to EXP? And that was about it the first year. And then the second year, I started to be a little more proactive, and I started just kind of reaching out to agents I was friends with on Facebook, either Facebook messaging them to get the conversation going or calling them. And I always really tried to personally take the approach of being more attraction based. So trying to have a Facebook social media strategy that would elicit response from people. So sharing just success that I was having in the company, sharing the fun that I was having at company conferences, things like that. So for the attraction piece of it, it was never like, I'm going to make X amount of prospecting calls per week. It was much more organic than that. And sometimes it has to be more than that. What I teach is a 2, 10, 40. You may have heard of it. It's 2 a day, 10 a week, 40 a month. If you did that for say 3 to 5 years, you would have massive success. I would even go to say that there's nobody in the company that has done that over 3 to 5 years. And we're just talking about 10 contacts a week. Like people doing expired prospecting, they're making 100 plus. Because what happens is you get better with your skill set, and then you just start getting really good results. So you don't need to make 10 contacts a week. Like my conversion rates early on were upwards of 50%. So I would talk to somebody, and they might not join next week, but they might join in a few months. So I would talk to somebody, pique their interest. I would have them watch the video, themodelexplained.com. I would have them talk to my upline partners through a call, and then they would either join or they wouldn't. And usually about half the time they would join. So I've only sponsored, since I've been with the company, about 2 a month. And you'll find that all the top tractors are right around that, around that 1 to maybe 2.5 mark per month. So it's not like it's not really a numbers game attraction. So it's kind of different. So I'm not sure if that helps at all, but that's kind of, at least was my approach. But if I'm like brand new, if I were to restart this like day one, I would take a 2-10-40 approach until my pipeline was so full. And then I would just be mostly following up with people and staying in touch and trying to promote the next event to those people. So to start a pipeline from scratch, I would do the 2-10-40 approach. Or if you guys are listening and you're like, that's too much, I'm too busy with real estate and all my other stuff, and then a 1-5-10, 1 a day, 5 a week, 10, 1-5-20, 20 a month. And even more than that, I would not recommend doing it 2 a day or 1 a day. I would actually just do them all on Friday or Tuesday, whatever day you pick. I like Freedom Friday because it sounds good. I would do all 5 contacts on Friday, all 10 contacts on Friday. Those are your new contacts, and throughout the week, I would follow up, do three-way calls. Because at least for me, it's like the weeks go by so fast. I could miss, the first 3 days of the week for my prospecting calls, and then be behind the gun and being like, man, I got to make all these calls now on Thursday, Friday, versus just being like, everything stops every Friday from 12 to 3. This is sacred time. Versus just being like, well, I'm going to squeeze in one here, one there. I like just sitting down and time blocking it for 1 day a week. But 2-10-40 just sounds really good. So that's how we teach it. But I would do your 2-10-40 in 1 day of the week.
Just to clarify real quick, AJ, when you're saying your 2-10-40, those are contacts, conversations, appointments. What is the 2-10 like when they kind of explain to them what their 10 or what that like defines as?
Yeah, those are contacts.
Okay. And a
A
contact
is a conversation.
Okay. About EXP. So 10 of those a day or a week, essentially. Okay. Awesome. Ronnie's got
that's if you're sprinting. If you're walking, 5 a week.
5 a week. Okay. I like it.
It's what your goals are. If you're like, you know what, I'm a full-time agent, but I would like to make a couple grand a month in rev share, do 2 a week. But if you're like, I want financial freedom as fast as possible so I can retire and go travel the world, I'd be making 10 a week.
Gotcha. I love it. Ronnie, your hand up was first. Go for it. You're muted, buddy.
That's the fact.
There we go.
If you do the math on what AJ is saying, obviously 80-20 rules. So multiply those numbers times 80-20 formula, and that's how many times you got to lift up that heavy phone. The question I had for you, AJ, is, within our company, we've got these, I call them a unicorn, like Mike Sherrard, who talks about all the people he's sponsored, but he's very adamant that he'll never do any follow-up. I don't do any follow-up. It's like they're either in or they're out. Can you talk about sort of the specifics, or go down a little bit into the weeds, if you will, with follow-up strategies, if you use them, what that looked like, the kind of attention you paid, the kind of material you used? Did you text? Did you email?
Yeah, so combination of text, calls, and social media messages. I don't really use email much. I would say it's more maybe what you prefer and maybe what your demographic prefers. So I primarily would use personally text and social media messages for follow-up. That's what worked well for me. I kind of look at it like just stay in relationship with people. So if they're like a hard no initially, I would still stay in touch with that person every couple months. So don't overthink it. So if it's a hard no, stay in touch every couple months. And it might not even be, hey, I know you told me no 2 months ago, but I was just curious. Are you interested in EXP now? It's like, that's probably not going to work. It's more like, hey, we're doing this free training this Friday over Zoom about how to get 90 listings in 90 days. Would you like to hop on that? Or we're doing a local training, 90 listings in 90 days. Would you like to come out as my guest and have free lunch? So it's always kind of just promoting the next opportunity. That could be an EXP conference. If they're not like a hard no, it could be a regional event that EXP is starting to do. So that's kind of the idea, is how do you promote the next thing? If they're kind of like, that sounds pretty good, just not ready right now, I would stay in touch with them every month. If they're like, yeah, I want to do it, but I just got to figure some things out, I'm in touch with them every week. depending on how excited they were, maybe every couple of days. So you kind of just got to feel them out. So I would go from super cold to every couple 2 to 3 months to, yeah, it looks pretty good, just not ready right now. That'd be like a monthly. And then if they're somewhat warm, hot, like, yeah, I want to do it, I just can't do it right now, then it's every couple of days to every week. Like some people will tell you, yeah, I'm doing it. Like I'm signing up tonight. And then you check your dashboard the next morning to see if they signed up and they didn't. That type of person would be like an everyday follow-up. It's like every day I'm pinging them, I'm texting them, hey, just want to see where we're at in the onboarding process. Hey, anything holding you up on the onboarding process? Hey, just want to make sure EXP is not dropping the ball. Because those people will flop too. That's the most heart-wrenching one, is when they said they're signing up like that night or tomorrow and they end up not coming at all. It's because they got cold feet, their broker talked them out of it. So you really need to be all over them at that point. So just don't overthink it. You know, if it helps, document your plan, stick it on your wall. You know, cold, warm, hot, cold every couple months. I'm gonna do this every month for warm. I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Which is a good well chart piece, right, AJ? I mean, well chart way scary on the wall if you want to do that. I've done that and
Yep.
put like people's names that are hot, I put them in red. People's names that are cold, I put them in blue. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But regardless, so that I know how to touch them.
That's perfect.
Awesome. Did that answer your question, Ronnie? Awesome. Great. Thanks, AJ. Vanina, go ahead. Raise your hand.
Yes, I wanted to know, you said you were contacting people on social media, kind of agents you would contact on social media. What kind of script? Was it in writing, or did you call? If you wrote something, a message, what did you say at the beginning?
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do if you're going to use a social media type strategy, and the first, just to throw it out there, the place you want to start is people that would know you. If you called agents at previous offices, agents from coaching programs, cross-sale agents, you just want to start with your warm list. Don't try doing these like social media strategies until you've exhausted that other list. To be quite honest, how long have you been selling real estate, Vanina?
About 8 years.
Okay, cool. So you've been in business for a while. So for a lot of agents who have been in the business 5+ years, their warm list, if they really actually made the list, that's the first step when it comes to attraction, is making your top 100 list. You could have a top 250 list. But your financial freedom could be in that list. Most people make the mistake of never making the list. And then if they make the list, so like if you take 100 agents who say they want to do agent attraction, 10 make the list. So 10% make the list, the other 90% don't even make the list. So everything else I'm going to talk about is completely pointless because they haven't even made their list yet. So step 1, make the list. Step 2 is work that list extremely aggressively. Not like your personality is aggressive, but you're like relentless with that list. Like you're truly sorting through that list to find out who's yes, who's no, who's maybe. And that could take months. Like a list of 100 could take months to really exhaust. I remember my good pal, Bill Price. He's got probably about, 2,000 people in his group. He's on like my 3rd level. And every time I'd get in the car with him in Charlotte before I moved, he would have just a yellow pad. The first page of the yellow pad's crumpled, because it has a cover on it, yellow pad. It's just crumpled. It's just getting flown around his office, his car. And every time we'd be going to a lunch and learn, I'd have to take it off the seat and put it on the dashboard because he's just got scribbles of names on his yellow pad. That was his list, his top 100 list. And that's all he worked for years because he was a top producing agent. He had the contacts. He made contacts at a local level. What open house can I go to meet someone? What if I list something, what buyer agents are making offers? What showing agents are coming to show the property? So that was really cool to see. But so once you get through all that and you're like, man, I've really exhausted my list. I need to make new contacts and I like social media. Well, then Facebook's great. So where you start with that is add agents to your Facebook. I did this before I joined EXP. So this was just kind of perfect timing for me. I always added agents that I wanted to connect with on Facebook for networking purposes, for potential role play partners, for call and expires. I used to role play every day. People I'd meet at coaching programs I'd add to my Facebook. I would go into like different referral groups and add people just so I could build my referral network. So I was doing that. So by the time I joined EXP, I had kind of a mature audience, I guess, of Facebook friends. They may have not known who I was. I may have not known who they were, but they may have seen my posts from time to time. So you can start doing that today. So you start just adding friends adding friends that are realtors. Try to get to 5,000 or as close to it as possible. I still only have like 4,200 friends or something like that, but you can have 5,000 max. I think that's still the rule. Once you add them, they need to accept it. So once they accept your request, you'll be notified on Facebook. When they accept it, you can send a text message through Facebook or a voice message. Voice is better, but if you don't have the time, just do a text one, copy paste, pretty simple. I would just say something simple. I always try to do voice because then you can have the tonality. So I would just say something like, I would say, hey, Chris, it's AJ. Thanks for connecting with me on Facebook. I see that you're an agent there in California. I'm here in Charlotte. A lot of people definitely moving back and forth between California and Charlotte. Would you be open to, referring business? So something like that, an open-ended question, so they can reply back. Usually they reply back. Sometimes they don't, and that's okay. If they don't reply back, I might just make a little note to do the same thing again in about a week or so. And then if they don't reply again, I just let them be a Facebook friend, and it's all good. So that's how you start to kind of open that relationship up. And that helps too with the Facebook algorithm, because if you're messaging back and forth with somebody, that tells Facebook that you guys have a pretty good relationship. So now more of your posts will show up on their page. And that's really cool. So be active, try to post once a day on Facebook. Selling real estate, family stuff, whatever, just once a day, nothing crazy. And then they'll start kind of to see who you are. If you message them and they want to check you out, they can see kind of like who you are, what you're all about. So that's Facebook. You can do the same thing with Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I think, works really good from a messaging strategy. But yeah, it's there's so many things that work. I would just say pick like one strategy at first, master it, and then maybe add a second strategy when you feel like you're kind of running out of contacts.
Okay, great. Can you tell me, once you made that initial voice contact, then how do you bring up EXP?
So after you have a couple through calls back and forth, you can do two things. You can just kind of hit them with EXP, or you can offer like a business consultation call. So I've done both. I like to kind of lead with a business consultation call. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a coach, but if you've been selling real estate for a while, you can offer somebody else like, hey, I do free business assessment calls. Just takes about 15 minutes. Show you how to double your business in the next 12 months, whatever your hook is. And then they can just book a call. Most people, in my experience, as long as you're already communicating with them and you have a good presence on social media, so you actually take the time to make sure your profile looks legit, and you present yourself well to the public, put a little effort into it, then they're open. Who wouldn't want to double their business in 12 months? So you can lead with that. So then it's a 15-minute call, Zoom call, phone call, whatever, and then you're able to build more rapport. And then at the end of the call, if you feel like it's a good fit, you can just say, hey, really the next steps, if you kind of like what I was sharing today, is to book a second call to kind of talk about how we could work together. I don't sell coaching. I partner with agents at EXP, and I'm able to coach them for free because EXP compensates me. Is that something you'd be open to? So that's the business consultation approach. The second approach would be you just have a few messages back and forth. Then you could just say, hey, I've been with EXP now for 3 years, love my time here. I've been able to earn, 10,000 shares of stock, or earn $3,000 a month residual income, or, I've just been able to take my business from 20 sales to 50, like whatever you can share that would maybe catch their attention. I would love to kind of share with you how EXP was able to do that for me. Or if maybe you don't want to go that route, you could just say, the old Rob Flick script. And you guys, if you haven't seen the Rob Flick video with the wealth chart, so that can be your follow-up system, your CRM system. Rob Flick also shares a great script that goes along something along the lines with, EXP compensates their agents 3 different ways. It's revolutionized the real estate industry. If you'd be open to making more money or doing, would you be open to making more money doing what you're already doing? I'd love to show you how I've been able to do that. And more than anything, just don't be attached to the outcome, because the reality is most people are going to say no. Most people that you send a voice message to through Facebook are never even going to reply. That's just the reality. Even your warm contacts, most of them are going to shut you down initially. So you just got to be ready for that. I always like to say, marry the process, divorce the result. So you just got to have faith that as long as you take consistent action over time, doing the activities that are proven to work, that it will work. And you just got to have that faith. So when someone says no, or when someone's rude, you just kind of let that go really quick, and then just move on to the next one.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, I think Bo has it real quick. Bo has that first, then Cindy. Go ahead, Bo.
You're welcome.
Oh, you did? Okay. Awesome.
He answered my question.
Cindy, go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi AJ. I'm in Hawaii and I'm on the hunt for an agent attraction coach. I've been in real estate for 32 years and I want to retire. So I got 3 years to do it. So I want to go hard and heavy. And I've got a list. It's 5 pages long. I've got 4 under me now, but nobody that I can really count on. I got 2 good ones, I guess, that I could probably count on for capping every year, but I want to go hard and strong. Any suggestions?
AJ, she's a top Sotheby's agent for Hawaii. She won't tell you that, but she has a lot of clout with other agents. So now you answer her question.
Awesome. I love it. Is your question about getting a coach or just strategy?
No, who do you recommend for getting a coach that could really kick a fire under me to do it?
Yeah, it's interesting, the whole coaching piece around attraction. I know there's cool people selling courses, but it's like the person that you probably want as a coach when it comes to agent attraction is probably someone that would never do it because they make so much from revenue share. But
Right.
and the kind of culture is like we don't want to sell like coaching to our agents because we kind of should coach them for free because we were in rev share. And I'm like really against that. Like I think someone should start like the best, like Mike Ferry style, Tom Ferry style, like attraction coaching company that's ever existed. Cause I just believe when people pay, they pay attention. And I believe that
Right.
people need to have a paid coach at all times if they want to achieve the highest levels of success. So with that being
That's what
said,
I'm asking.
yeah, with that being said, maybe Shireen and Chris can point in the direction for a specific coach. I don't have any that I would recommend. I have a great business coach that is mine, that I'd be comfortable recommending. He knows the attraction process. Like he knows what an FLQA is. He knows what an FLA is. He knows the game because he's coached me for about 3 years. 4 years we've had a on and off relationship, but it's not specifically about attraction. It's mostly about other stuff, life, business, whatever. But he'll hold you accountable. That's really what you need. The strategy is very simple. These calls are the strategy. The Build conference, Brett Gove's YouTube channel has all of the conferences ever cataloged. I can't say that word apparently. Yeah. We'll just say cataloged is the word.
There you go.
I'm trying to mix both of them, I think. That's all the strategy. So you don't need a coach for strategy. What I would be looking to pay for is a coach that will hold me accountable and help me discover really why I want to take the action. So for you specifically being a top Sotheby's agent, I would be making my list and I would only be working that list until that list cannot be worked anymore. How long have you been in real estate for?
33 years.
Yeah. So your contacts has all the money that rev share wise that you probably ever need to earn or want to earn. if you take that list and get 50 people to join over the next 5 years, there's no reason why a list like yours wouldn't become a 5,000 person organization, netting you multiple 7 figures a year residual. That's
Okay.
the power of a list when you've been in business and sold real estate at a high level for that
Right.
long. You just need somebody that's going to hold you accountable to the
To make the
action.
calls. Yep.
And I would role play too. You know, this is something that nobody really does, but I would role play what you're going to say when you reach out to these people. I think the phone call is most powerful. I just don't do it anymore. Phone calls I did initially, I had really quick success. So it was like me, I was 18 months in, financially free at my dream number. So I could slip on my standards. I'm like, I'm not calling people anymore. I don't have to. I'm not prospecting for 2 hours a day. I don't have to. But I'll text and I'll message. But if you're new to this, I would be calling only for the initial call to my contacts. And I'd be watching the presentation with them. I wouldn't be sending it to people. It's like,
Right. I've learned that already. I gotta have them come over and sit down and watch it because they don't watch it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm glad you learned that. So if you guys are on here and haven't learned that, learn it from Cindy and make sure you watch the presentation with the person. It's like, you know, you got a $10 million listing appointment coming up and you're like, watch this video and let me know what you think. Like, you're going to wear your best suit. You're going to practice your listing presentation. You're probably going to, you know, be having your spouse sit there and listen to what you're going to say. Then you're going to drive there. You're going to be early. You know, you're going to make sure your car's washed. You're just going to put your best foot forward. But with attraction, you know, we're talking to an agent that could eventually be 1,000 person organization, almost $1 million a year in our pocket. And we're like, watch the video, let me know what you think. And then a week goes by and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot I sent that video to that person. They didn't contact me. They're never going to contact you back. You got to follow up with them if you send the video. And then they're like, oh yeah, I watched it. And you can see the analytics if you use something like CRM Grow. They watched 7 minutes of the 37-minute video. Like, they didn't watch the video. They watched 7 minutes of the videos. And then now they know what EXP is, but they really don't know. And they told you that they watched the video, but you know they didn't watch the video. So now you can't call them out on it. And now that prospect's dead to you.
Right.
It's such a missed opportunity. And that is the lazy way that's ineffective to do it. I've done that. Every top attractor's done that. And more than ever, the message to our organizations is watch the video with them. So lesson learned for everybody, myself included.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, did that answer your question, Cindy?
I did. Thank you.
We got about like maybe 5-6 minutes left here. Real quick, what was the biggest changing point for you? I know you hit 500 in your organization. Then when did it like explode? I think, did it go from 5 to like 1,000 or like 2,000 or 3,000? Then it just kept actually. What was the big leap for you? And what do you think was the trigger? Was it the big generals that maybe you brought in? That they had this like desire to grow too? I think that's big. If you see a lot of these influencers numbers, a lot of them maybe have a bunch of FLQAs, but their organization group is small. So you don't see a lot of the generals in there ultimately. So what was your biggest point that you had, AJ, that all of a sudden it leaped from the 500, because that was your point, till boom, now you're at 6,000 or 6,500. What did that look like on a graph?
Yeah, so year one, it was like 157. Year two finished at 971. Year three, I want to say finished at like 1,700. So it started going pretty fast after the first year. It's all about who you bring on. That's the beauty of this opportunity. If you look at your anyone's rep share dashboard that has a large organization, it shows the percentage of agents that are on each level. So my first level is like 1.4% of my entire organization. So what that means, and this is what's so cool, and this is when you're talking to independent brokers, top big teams, like, do they get this? Top producers, 1.4% of my efforts is all that I put in. So 1.4% is all I put in to the 6,500 agents. That's the largest form of leverage that I've ever seen in any business. So I put in 1.4% of the effort, but got 100% of the opportunity. So it's all about your builders. But the mindset that you should have going into this is just put your head down and get to 25 FLAs as quickly as possible. If you're going to be approaching people they should all be cappers minimum. Do not approach new agents. Yeah, new agents, they last on average 90% fail in the first 3 years is a stat I heard. So you're going to recruit 9 people or 10 people, have one left after 3 years, and maybe that one's not even a good agent. So it's like, if they reach out to you, yeah, sure, sign them up if you want to, that'd be great. But if you're going after agents, make sure they're cappers and above, and get to 25 FLAs. And in the 25 FLAs, you'll have one that probably does something with this. It's 1 out of every 20 to 25 people that you personally sponsor will actually do something with this. So when I talk to people and they're frustrated and they've only sponsored 15 people, being on my side of it, I'm like, I'm not even surprised. And I let them know you shouldn't be surprised either, because you're not even at 25 FLA yet. You're just over halfway there to even thinking that you should have somebody that's actually taking action on this, because the numbers are the numbers, the math is the math. And this is proven across everyone's organization that I've ever looked at. So get your 25 people, you'll get one builder, you'll start to grow some depth. If you're like, oh, well, now it's growing too slow, I'm only 100 in my organization. Well, that signals to me, I need another builder. So then you need to go out, get another 25, and then you'll get another builder in that group. But what's cool is that first group, that first person that says, I'm going to do something with this, they get their 25, and then they get their one builder. So now you got builder level 1, you have builder on level number 2, and then they go get their 25, and you have builder on level number 3. So you just got this one leg that's going really deep, and that could be all you need, really. A lot of top organizations are built on just one leg, and that's fine. So don't think too much of how can I make this grow faster. It's mostly out of your control. It's how do I continue to have new conversations with good producing agents? How do I personally sponsor more agents? That's the whole game. And then once you get people in, yeah, there's no reason why everyone isn't sponsoring their entire organization to this call every Tuesday. Hey, just a reminder, today at 2 Eastern, we got the call, make sure you're on it. Like that's really all you have to do is once you sponsor somebody, that and do three-way calls for them. Tell them to go to the conferences, tell them to go to these calls, do three-way calls for them. If they don't show up for these calls, they don't show up for conferences, you have my permission, not that you need it, that you don't need to continue to show up for them because they're not doing the work. You're just wasting your time, taking away your valuable time that you could be giving to other people. So a lot of people are like, well, I got 20 and nothing's happening. Well, the 20 you got, either you didn't promote well enough, so maybe try promoting. If you promote for 90 days and still no one's showing up, no one's doing nothing, well, you can't raise the dead back to the living. You got to go find the living and then help them.
Very true. Awesome. Hey, we got about 4 minutes left. But Bo, Cindy, you guys have a question real quick? Is it a quick one? Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah. So everyone on this call probably gets the 14 texts a day about a 20% referral opportunity from someplace in California. Maybe you guys in California are the ones send them to me. I don't know, but it's BS automated systems. And I hate it. I hate it. And the first thing that comes to my mind, and this is just a mental thing I have to get over, but I'm hoping you have a helper clause or tip or something. But how do you get over the fact that you might be acting like those people? Because I hate those people. If I could shoot them through the phone, I would probably do it. I don't want to annoy the shit out of everybody. What are you telling yourself to push through that? I mean, I'm sure you've gotten violently rejected at some point where people are like cussing you out or saying, don't call me. I mean, I'm sure it has to happen eventually, but what did you do? What tips do you use to keep going?
So you're referring to agents at EXP who are spamming other agents via text message?
No, this is just the industry in general. I got one 2 seconds ago. It's like, hey, we have a referral opportunity for 20%.
I gotcha.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Every day you get them 10 a day. At least I do.
Yeah, so I get a lot of those too. As you were saying that, I was thinking I've actually never received prior to joining EXP or after. I've never received an automated blanket email about EXP or text message. But yeah, the spam ones that I get all the time, I'm always like, spam, report, block. So I personally actually never had somebody that upset with me about having an EXP conversation. I mean, I've had calls called expireds where the insult was so bad I went home and just stopped. Like, that was my last call of the day. If it was 11 o'clock, I went home, went to the gym, called it a day. But I showed up the next day. But it was pretty hurtful, and I like it took me out that day. But I showed up the next day. All of my attraction calls have been decent. No one's ever called me a name. No one's ever hung up on me. Or whether it's a message or a phone call, I've never had a negative response. Of course, some people have had negative responses that were swear words or whatever. I'm sure that's happened, So it's actually the rejection that you face in attraction contacts is so much less than you face calling expireds for sale by owners. So with that being said, and even like, so my buddy John Mycash, he's an independent. He was an independent broker. He came here 2.5 years ago. He's got like 2,000 in his group. Lars Hedenborg, top real estate coach. He joined us about 2 years ago. He's got like 1,700 in his group. Both of those guys, because we've had this conversation, because the question like you just asked comes up a lot on calls that we do. They actually never got a spam type text or message about EXP. John never had anyone besides me reach out to him, and he was an independent broker doing 300 plus deals a year. Lars had one person reach out to him before John sponsored him. So we get in our head that all these people are getting bombarded with EXP, but they're really not. Some people maybe are because they somehow got on like a weird list with like a recruiting company that's trying to recruit agents for different brokerages, which is against our agent attraction pledge. You shouldn't hire like an outside recruiting company, although it has happened. And maybe they're just on their list. So they're like a unicorn that got hit up like once a month for an entire year. And they're the ones swearing at everyone when they call. But these calls are actually really easy to make. If you practice your script, you sound confident, you get a decent response. Same with the messaging. The other question you asked was, what do you say to yourself to help? I shared this at Build. I'll share it on here. I have a vision sheet that has my goals on it, and like my dream board. It's two-sided, but an affirmation I wrote in 2018 said, because I was kind of the same thing, man. I'm like, rejection sucks. It doesn't matter if it's a swear word or if it's just them saying not interested. But rejection isn't fun. It's our ego telling us we want to stay safe. We don't want to risk our ego. So when I was dealing with that, I wrote down an affirmation on my vision board that said, to share who I am proudly, to share who I am and what I have to offer proudly. For most, it won't mean anything, but for some, it will mean everything. So what that meant to me was put myself out on social media, share who I am on social media. That was my trigger for that. But what I had to offer proudly was the EXP opportunity. To some, it won't mean anything. The person that could swear at you and hangs up on you, tomorrow, they're not thinking about Bo. They could care less about Bo. Probably 10 minutes later, they could care less about Bo. But for the person that you call that joins, and 2 years later, they became an icon agent like you are, and they got $2,000 a month in rev share coming in, and it's paying their mortgage, and they're getting that free stock every year. And then they look up 10 years from now, they're a millionaire just because of the stock, and their living expenses are paid for because of the rev share. That meant everything to them. That's generational, potentially generational brokenness changed forever. That will save marriages. That will save relationships with children. When someone's able to take that financial pressure out of their lives that they might be experiencing before EXP, and help with stock and rev share, and help with like the community, they're not doing calls like this over at Coldwell Banker. People need community. If all they came for was and got the community at our conferences and on calls like this, that could change their life. So you kind of got to get over what could be perceived as your hurt feelings when you're going through the rejection, and always just remember, if I get the 99 no's, but the one that says yes, and their life has changed forever, it's worth it. Because when their life changes forever, this is the beauty of our model, your life gets changed forever. That's rev share. So hopefully that's helpful.
Awesome. Good perspective. I got two more questions real quick. We're over tonight. So Shereen and Cindy, who wants to go first? They're quick and
I'll go
quick.
first. So how do you keep track of all your people? And like when you've called somebody and you know you need to do a follow-up call in a month, do you have a spreadsheet? I mean, do you write it in a book? I mean, I'm a black book person. I write things down, and it's going to get too crazy. I know that. So how do I prepare, and what do I set up to make it happen properly?
Yeah, for you, I'd recommend your black book. For those a little more tech savvy. I mean, you can do if you want to use like an actual CRM system, like a electronic one. Yeah, Ronnie, just put in CRM Grow. CRM Grow is great. Follow Up Boss. That's what I use when I was selling real estate. So I still have a Follow Up Boss account for agent attraction. I am switching to CRM Grow, but yeah. So CRM Grow, Follow Up Boss. You can use KV Core. Like Ronnie just said, I would just recommend not using your real estate CRM. I would have a separate one. It could be KV Core Real Estate, KV Core Attraction, Follow Up Boss Attraction, Follow Up Boss Real Estate. Just keep them separate logins. But if you're just like, I want my yellow pad, my black book, just use that. And I would start with the wealth chart. Like I wouldn't even think about using an electronic CRM until I really have been doing this a few months. I've worked my warm list pretty good. I'll just keep it simple. I would use a yellow pad, note cards in conjunction with the wealth chart, and Chris can reshare that with everybody that may need a refresher on it. Print out the wealth chart, put up on your wall. Eventually, your organization will get too big. It's too small to utilize, but you can spend the next 3 to 5 years using a wealth chart.
Okay, great.
The only thing I was going to say takes 2 seconds. You guys, the most rude response I ever got from an agent, the most rude one, and somebody I knew well, 3 years later is at EXP.
There you go.
So you know what? That was my rudest. I remember it hit me hard, and now he's at EXP. So you know what?
Yeah.
Just know that. That's just a fact.
It is. You got to get through it. Get through the pain. And unfortunately, you're
They
right.
all will come. They
Yeah.
all will.
Nobody likes
They're
rejection.
all coming.
Yep, it's a human behavior trait. And nobody likes rejection. But if you push through and have a bigger focus on your why and be obsessed with it, that stuff kind of falls off. And like I said, within an hour, that person doesn't even remember who you are. And so you got to think the same way, right? Awesome. AJ, dude, thank you so much. What a great story. I love you. Always watching you. I love running into you. I appreciate this. If you guys go to the Bill shareholders, EXP Con, you can hang out with AJ. AJ will hit with you guys, grab coffee. He'll grab lunch. This is a great guy. Always helpful. Thank you so much. Love you, dude. Appreciate your story. And
Likewise.
love you guys all. See you guys all next week. And don't forget Thursdays, EXP Explain. So we'll see you guys then. Have a great week. Crush it and talk to you later.